All right. The qualities of a good presentation. Now, Bismillah Rahman Rahim. This is Mohammad Mizar Rahman Bhuiya, Lecturer, Department of English, and Deputy Director, Student Affairs, Asian University of Bangladesh. Dear audience, I'm going to make a presentation on how to make an effective presentation. Well, there are three components in a presentation. You could see my screen now.
Yes, sir. We could see.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Number one, audience. Number two, presentation, and number three, presenter. But it has to be interrelated. It has to be combined together. If your audience is not given enough importance, and if your presentation is not attractive enough, and as a presenter, if you cannot combine all these things together, put all things together, the presentation will not actually work. So what we have to do in the very beginning of the presentation, we need to have a good planning, and you have to work out who are your audience for whom you are going to make this presentation, and what are the things the audience would like to listen from you. So a good presenter, what a good presenter does, makes a plan and gives an outline of the presentation at the very beginning. I would like to add few words. We continuously giving the presentation in academic arena, like classroom presentations, and whenever we'll be finishing our studies, we have to go for the presentation in, of course, in our professional arenas. Even nowadays, for getting a good job, you must present yourself, you must prove yourself by giving the presentation. So you have to prove yourself by giving a presentation on yourself, that what you want to do and what are the changes you are going to make for this company or for this institution, and then you get the job. So a good presenter, for being a good presenter, first of all, you need to give a clear guideline about the presentation. So you can note the things down, or you may have the slide after the session. We can provide it. So whenever you are going to present, what we normally do in our academic presentation, we just go in front and we just start talking without giving the guideline for the audience to listen to you or what they are going to listen from you. So that is a huge mistake that we make in the very beginning. So we have to give a guideline, like this is Mohammad Mizar Rahman Bhuiya. I'm going to make a presentation on presentation skill. My presentation is divided into three parts. First, I will talk about this, then I will talk about this, and finally, I'll talk about this. Like in this way, you give a guideline, and you may make people ease of thinking whether you are going to take too much time by saying that my presentation will take 5 minutes or my presentation will take 10 minutes. So people will have the guideline in front of you, and they will synchronize the whole thing, that what you are going to do and in which proportion and how much time you are going to consume. So they will have a very good understanding of what you are going to do. And then a good presenter invites the audience to ask questions at the end of the presentation or during the presentation. Well, I would like to say one thing, and I would like to ask you a question, that what is the difference, basic difference between a presentation and a public speech or a speech? What is the basic difference?
So I don't think so. In public speech, there is Q&A session, like there will be questions and answers.
Exactly. I wanted to give emphasis on this. In a public speech or in a speech, the speech is one-way traffic. Then only the speaker will be speaking, and there is no interruption, there is no question or cessation. But in a presentation, it is a two-way traffic, and a presentation means you'll give the presentation, and your audience is one of the most important part of your presentation, because you want to convince your audience, you want to convince your listener that what you want to say and what you want to pursue from them. So that's why a good presenter always invite questions from the audience. You must ask questions to the audience, because a presentation is a two-way traffic. It is not a one-way traffic. So the basic difference between a presentation and a speech is a presentation is a two-way traffic. And the beauty of a presentation is to get involved your audience. You involve your audience with your presentation. You ask questions and invite questions You make them engage with the activities. Even the question you are asking to the students or the audience, if they do not answer the question, answer the questions yourself. You give a poke to the audience, so that they feel that they are the part. So you have to, as a good presenter, you have to ensure that you are asking questions in the presentation, and you are inviting questions from the audience. Dear audience, do not feel bored. I will make the presentation compact, and I'll not too much time so that you get tired. Well, a good presenter, for being a good and effective presenter, you need to structure, you need to give a clear structure, and you need to develop the whole ideas. A presentation has that a clear structure and development. That means, as I have said already, that you must structure your presentation. That is what most of us do not do, and that's why audience do not get to us clearly, do not find us what actually is going to be said afterward. So if you give the guideline and a structure, then audience will be following them. And it is very important, if possible, you give the uh, outline, you give the sheet, you give the piece of a paper that what you are going to cover. If possible, you give the whole guideline that what you are going to cover, and after what. That means if you give the sequence, the audience will be tracking you very well, and they will be following you, and they will be able to understand the development of the presentation. That means if it is advisable that you give some sort of page, some sort of worksheet, or some kind of paper, by which they will not only they'll be following your PowerPoint presentation. If they have something in their hand to follow you, they can relate it much better than from the PowerPoint. So make sure you give a clear structure of your presentation, and audience are well aware of their of the development of the presentation. A good presenter knows exactly what he or she tried to say. Very important. The concept that you are going to impart, the concept that you are going to share, the argument that you want to make, the logic that you want to show to the audience, you need to have a very clear idea about what you want to say. If you're not ready, if you're not well prepared, then a presentation might not be as attractive as you wanted or as you anticipated. So make sure whatever you say, it may be a very tiny thing, maybe you know this, but before a presentation, you must take good preparation. You must do some rehearsal or do some practice before you get started with your presentation. And you must know very clearly what you want to say, what you want to, what message you want to give to the audience. So that is what you must know, what exactly you want to say. So maybe your standpoint is not correct. Maybe your standpoint is something very much hypothetical. It is not proven yet. But whenever you deliver your speech, whenever you present yourself, make sure you are giving 100% and you are uttering the words with 100% confidence. Do not show that you are shaky with your thinking, with your belief, that you are not sure what you're going to say. In a presentation, you must know what you are going to say, and in a presentation, you must be very confident what you are going to deliver and what you exactly want to say. So this is another very effective and very important issue for a presenter. And then I'm coming to the next slide. A good presenter uses visual aid to support the points he or she making. Not necessarily, we always have a tendency to use PowerPoint, but visual aid doesn't necessarily to be only PowerPoint. Although I am using PowerPoint, it is the widely used visual aid for the presentation, for a meeting. But without visual aid, a presentation is possible. Well, I'm not taking the credits away from PowerPoint presentation, but here only PowerPoint presentation is not the tool. There are so many different tools for presentation. Well, a good presenter always uses visual aids. That means we like to memorize, we like to watch things, we like to see things in front of us, and whatever we see in our eyesight is more uh, uh, what should I say, it's more understandable to us, and it remains fresh in our mind for a longer period of time. So whenever you are giving a presentation, you must use a visual aid. You may be using a very nice creative poster. Maybe you are using your whiteboard. Maybe you are using cue cards. Maybe you are showing some maps. Maybe you are using the wall of the room that you are going to present. That might be a very innovative idea, that the whole wall that you have around you, you have put some visual aid to involve your audience, to show them what you want to do. So visual, a good presenter always uses visual aids. And whenever a presentation marking is concerned, then the marks is actually divided into so many different issues. As a teacher, I can say you that whenever you give a presentation, what we actually see from a student, what they are doing, whether they have introduced themselves well, whether they have given a clear guideline about their presentation, whether they are speaking confidently, whether they are fluent enough, whether they are using visual aid, no matter whether they are using PowerPoints or anything else, but they must use visual aids or aid by which they are presenting. So what is their dress code and everything. We may be coming to this session in brief, in the later part of my presentation. Just I'm giving you an example. So a good presenter always uses the visual aids that is needed for better understanding of the audience. A good presenter delivers the presentation clearly, but at a very natural speed. So whenever you're presenting, you make sure that whatever you are saying is clear enough, and of course the speed of proceeding is natural. Sometimes what we see, being so excited for any presentation, for any meeting, for any for some sort of issue, we get so much excited when we start speaking too fast, that the tempo is very fast, so that students or the audience gets a bit puzzled that what I'm saying or what the presenter is saying. So then speed has to be natural. We naturally see some orators, some speakers speak a bit earlier, or sorry, not earlier, with a bigger or better tempo, as they utter the sentence very fast. Naturally that happens. And some of the presenter or the speaker are a bit slow. They say one word after another, like that. So it is very important that we should not be very slow, that people feel very tired and boring to listen to you, and you should not be telling so fast that it becomes very difficult for the audience to follow you. So it has to be a natural speed. You should be speaking. Am I audible to you all? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Thank you.
sir.
Clear, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, a good presenter summarizes key points at the end of the presentation. That means if you want to be a good presenter, you must summarize the whole thing at the end of the presentation, because the audience would forget so many important issues as the presentation progresses. So it is the responsibility of the presenter to remind, to recall all the points, all the important points that is important for the audience. So make sure that whenever you are giving the presentation, you are summarizing the whole things. You are putting the whole things together in a nutshell at the end of the presentation. That means you summarize all the things. Like when we write an essay, we try to put all the things together at the end of the our essay, and we try to connect the thesis statement in the conclusion session. So next, with what I see, a good presenter clarifies and elaborate points. So we must take it into consideration that whether we are clarifying the difficult issues, whether we are clarifying the whole things to the audience, and we are elaborating the whole things properly, nicely. Otherwise, the statement you have given otherwise the presentation you have given, otherwise the theories or the information you have given to the audience might not be clear, and after a presentation of 1 hour or half an hour, people might go back home with a very disheartened mind because they did not get anything from your presentation. So you must make sure that you are clarifying the ideas and elaborating the ideas as much as possible with enough examples and elaboration. Well, here are the summary that I have spoken spoken that a good presenter, first of all, gives an outline to the presentation at the beginning. That means you have to give an outline that what you are going to cover. Invite audience to ask questions at the end of the presentation. And number 3, has a presentation that has a clear structure and development. A presenter always give a clear structure and the development process of his presentation. And number 4, knows exactly what he or she wants to say, and then use visual aids to support the points he or she is making. Then delivers the presentation clearly but at a natural speed. Number 7, summarize key points at the end of the presentation and clarifies and elaborate points if the members of the audience are not clear. Well, so these were the things that you have to follow, but I would like to add some more ideas with this, which has not been included here. So as a presenter, we have to make sure that we have a very good eye contact with everyone in the room. That means a good presenter needs to have a good eye contact, looking to everyone of the class or of the room. It's not like that you will be staring at someone only. Not like that. You move your head and see everyone in front of you. And by doing that, you are actually presenting yourself and you are understanding, you are reading the eyes of your audience, whether they are understanding of you or not. So it is very important to have a good eye contact. I'm sure many of you, almost every one of us, understand that what I'm saying, what I'm delivering, whether it is understandable to my audience or not. If it is not understandable, then I stop and I try to change my gear of talking. Then I shift my strategies to reach them, because you are presenting something, and if people are looking at you like ha kore takai ase, then it doesn't make any sense. You need to reach them. You need to reach their levels. Remember one thing: you speak in a way, but the people who are receiving you actually understand in so many different ways. So you have to fine-tune yourself to get to the bent of your audience, so that they understand you. Number 1. Number 2, whenever you are giving a presentation, remember one thing, that if you make the audience, if you can engage your audience by asking different questions, they will feel interested. And at the very beginning, you may give some statistics. You may give some statistics or quote some words from important people, so that student feels or audience feels, okay, today I'm going to learn something new. That means, because I'm telling this because whenever we are giving presentation in classes, so there are so many presentations. Maybe there are 30 students in your class. So presentation number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. People get so bored, do not want to listen to you. So in that time, you need to follow some techniques to get the attention back to you, because people are saying the same things and everyone is bored and tired. So in that time, if you say something, if you give a statistics which is very interesting, people will look at you. Okay, so like that. So you need to get the attention. You need to get the attention of the audience. Okay, for getting the audience, for the getting the attraction of the audience, you must ensure that you are saying something very interesting, and make sure if the presentation topic is not very serious or something that is the audience is not very much formal, like you are going to give an interview and you are showing a presentation of your skills, there you cannot be very informal. But in a scenario, in a setting where your audience is known, you may make some joke, you may give some, you may cut some jokes so that people feel comfortable. Or another technique you may use, just as you are going to the dais or you are going to the podium, if the floor is yours, the room is yours, the audience is yours, you can instruct them. So just go there, and before starting the presentation, you just say, hello, good morning, everyone. Could you please stand up for a while? Or could you please raise your left hand? Could you please raise your right hand? So that co-host is mute.
Please mute you.
Yes.
Yes, sir, already muted.
Okay, thank you. Well, so do that. So that they are actually following you, so that they are actually doing something different. Because sitting for a long time, for a longer period of time, sometimes people get bored. So what you need to do is engaging the people by doing something different. Well, and then after giving the outline, presentation outline, after each portion you may ask questions to the audience so that they follow your next part. That means after finishing the first part, you ask some questions from first part. Did you understand this? Then people will think, okay, fine, I did not hear the previous part well. Okay, I'm going to follow the next part. So you can say that in the next in my next segment, I will ask 2 questions, and those who will be asking my questions correctly will be rewarded. Just say like that. Keep some chocolates in your pockets. Give it 1 or 2 whenever someone is answering your question, so people will get involved to your presentation. Okay, so and everyone will be listening to you very carefully in the second part what you're going to say. So in between you can cut some joke, and you can ask some questions so that your audience is always listening to you. Well, and now we have always a concern that what shall we be wearing in a presentation, and how should I stand? The hands, 2 hands hands become so difficult things to handle. We sometimes keep in pocket, sometimes stand like this. That means we cannot handle our hands. So what is very easy and very comfortable and very general is to keep 2 hands together and say whatever you say confidently, and not always that you are just holding one hand another. No, whenever you need to move, you move in a natural way, but do not move too much that you look like you're dancing. No, for a presentation, don't be so much excited. So do it naturally. Point something out with your finger, no problem whatsoever. Sometimes you need to raise your voice a bit higher because you want to give some stress on something, and sometimes you just go with normal speed, proceeding, and stress. And whenever needed, you can make your voice a bit louder. And whenever and dress code, just wear what you are comfortable with. For the boys, it actually depends. If it is an academic presentation, you need to look in a way. If it is a professional presentation, you understand how you need to look decent. Remember, it is important to look decent in a presentation. And what is the definition of decency? Decency means you do not need to look like should not be looking like a clown, or do not do anything overdo. Do not overdo for a presentation purpose, or do not be so ordinary, or do not be so clumsy. You must keep yourself neat and clean. The shirt you are wearing, the pant you are wearing needs to be clean, needs to be ironed well. Your shoes, what you are wearing, need to be properly polished and everything. The belt you are wearing need to match the shoes, and these are the basic things you understand. And about the uh, about how the your about your engagement with your audience. uh, do not go too close to your audience, too close. No, because you are in a formal situation, you must keep some distance whenever you are speaking. If necessary, you go close to the audience, get into the audience, talk to them, but do not too close. That looks very odd. So keep a formal distance that is needed for a presentation. And finally, I would like to point out something that very many times we see that whenever we are presenting, I will take 3 minutes more to finish my presentation. Do not lose your patience. So whenever you are giving a presentation, you must make sure that equipments you are using is good working order. Do not check it going into your presentation room. Check it and double check it before you enter. Check your laptop, check your slides, check your microphone that you are going to use, check your sheets that you are going to provide for the audience, check the sound quality, check whether your laptop has enough power supplies, power backup, and everything. And remember, do not take your books or any khata or something like that. What we see sometimes that a student is going with all his book and giving a presentation without any preparation. That shows that you are not prepared. If you are not even well prepared, you disguise it by doing something creative. If you are not prepared, take some uh, uh, notes, take some cue cards, take them to the presentation so that at least you are not taking your notebook there and showing that you are not actually prepared. As teacher understands which student is well prepared. So do not give any clue by which the audience or the teacher is understanding that you are well prepared or not. And manage yourself well, think smart, and be smart whenever you are presenting yourself. Sometimes you might need to use your common sense to overcome a situation. You do that. There is no harm doing that. There is no harm using your smartness to overcome some difficulties. So dear audience, I believe that you will, after this presentation, you might be asking question, but last but not the least, the last thing I want to say, before a presentation, you must take good preparation. If you are not prepared enough, you are prepared to fail. We know these words very well. If you are not prepared enough, you are prepared to fail. So if you want to give a good presentation, you must make sure you are prepared enough. Now for the preparation, you may use some techniques like you can stand in front of a mirror and present yourself. You can call your friend, stand in front of him, rehearse it over and over, and then go for the presentation. Prepare yourself well. Do not start a presentation before you are prepared enough. So this was the last words from me, and I hope that these tips and techniques will be helpful for you. And remember, last thing, that giving a presentation after completing this workshop will not be so easy for you, because you have to learn it by doing. Theoretical things does not work in practical life. So whatever I have said here, a kind of theoretical thing, but you have to apply it in your activities. You have to work it, and you have to make sure that you are practicing well. And by practicing, by doing, we are learning. Remember, presentation skill and speaking skills are not knowledge learning. It is a skill that you are trying to develop, and skills are not learned. Skills are being developed, and skills you have to develop. You have to learn it by doing. Learning by doing. So presentation you have to learn by doing. So whenever you are preparing for the presentation, you must prepare yourself. Thank you so very much for your patience hearing.